This is the look at my latest toy, I guess you'd call it. I've always been interested in RC cars. I probably, first one I remember having, I was probably 5 or 6 years old. It was a Dukes of Hazzard General Lee, and it was a very simple control. You turned it on, and the car would run forward, and then I think it had a button on the control that you'd push, and that'd make the car reverse, and the wheels kick to the left or the right when it reversed, so that's how you'd turn. You'd go forward and reverse the turn. And then probably when I was about 10 years old, I got a Tyco, I believe it was like 9.6 volt, I almost think it was called the Bandit. And then I progressed in the mid-90s. I ended up with a Traxxas Nitro Hawk, I believe it was called, and just kind of went on from there. Well, I've kind of gotten out of the RC thing. I still got a Nitro, HPI Nitro MT, and some odds and ends. The Nitro Hawk, that's long gone. But the problem I had with the Nitro vehicles, I ended up going way too fast, and I crashed them. So I said, "Oh, I'm going to try one of these rock crawlers." Now, people say the Crawler King, it's too fast to crawl and too slow to be a backyard basher, and to an extent I see what they're saying. I kind of like it though, because I'm not interested in strictly crawling with it. I like kind of playing around with it a little bit and having the ability to go a little bit quicker. My only thing is people say the steering's bad. The steering is not the best setup, and I got to agree, it's pretty bad. It works okay. But as you can see, I'm trying to go lock to lock here, and even on a fairly non-abrasive surface, it just, I don't know if it's so much the servo not having enough torque or the linkage having so much play in it. And you can see that little pitman arm right there. There's a lot of play in it. It's only been somewhat of an issue. But I got the bracket on order to mount the servo to this front axle, so that should alleviate some of that play. And you can see if I pick this thing up and take some of the pressure off it, it turns lock to lock nicely. But you see there, I mean, I turn the wheels all the way left, I set it down, I let go of the controls, and they're not even returning to center. And if I try to go to the right, I'm not even making a dent in it. Now all the chassis on this is plastic, and I'm not opposed to that. I've rolled it several times. I've jumped it some, at least as much as you can jump one of these. This is completely stock for now. But the thing that got me was the servos. And I mean, most people already know this, but when I just didn't. I mean, people say, well, the servos at the back of the rig and this and that, and I just thought, I really didn't pay any attention to it. And then I'm like, wow, that really is. That's like a Rube Goldberg design right there. I mean, it's a gadget. They had a vision, and it's kind of an odd setup. So we got that arm there, that's connected to this arm here, which is on a pivot, which is in turn connected to this arm, which is in turn connected to the front axle, which is in turn connected to another little tie rod, like an intermediate, and then it's connected to like the center link. A lot of the play seems to be right here at the axle. That seems to be where a lot of the movement is. But I'm going to go ahead and relocate that servo. So far the radio on it's okay. I mean, you can tell it's not the highest quality, but it works good enough for me. I mean, I'm just a casual user. You see, I've got it in the dust some. Got it in the dirt a little bit. So far I've had fun with it. I'd like to waterproof it. I'd like to weight the tires and maybe cut the foam in them a little bit, make them a little bit softer. I've thought about changing out the motor. It's a 55 turn motor, and I got the gear reduction unit on order for this thing, but I don't believe I want it to go that slow. I kind of actually would like it to be able to go a little bit faster than stock. You know, I'm kind of using it as an all-purpose RC vehicle. I mean, I'm not strictly looking to make it into a crawler. I thought it was interesting how the rear axle's designed. I mean, it's the same as the front axle, except it's stationary. And I know some people, I think, have converted these to rear wheel steering. It wouldn't be terribly hard, I don't think. I mean, it's all right there. The plastic holding all this in place is pretty flimsy, but at the same point, I haven't had an issue with it. It seems to stay in place, and I've had this thing airborne and flipped upside down and whatnot, and it hasn't seemed to be an issue. So, but I mean, if you look at this tie rod or the center link here, I mean, I think that's a big part of the problem with the steering. There's just so much play in all this stuff. I mean, I think that's the biggest problem. Just way too much play. I've put it through some paces, and I'm happy with it. And I'm definitely looking into upgrading it some. So I'll keep everyone posted on that as I move along with this. Here's it running at full speed with a battery that probably has 25% of its charge left. And the drive shafts are plastic. And they're like little flex joints, and they seem to work well. The axles on it they're locked from the factory. The Wheelie King, which is what I was going to get, those I believe have open differentials. Definitely pretty softly sprung, that is for sure. And that's it don't take much. And this thing has quite a bit of lean when you put it in under any kind of torque. Like if you're going through the grass or whatnot, it has a lot of lean to it. And the tires tend to scrape the fender flares on the body. But overall, I'm happy with it. Like I said, I'm just a pretty casual user. It doesn't get used that often. I mean, I just like to have some fun with it, and I'll show you a video of that here in a little bit. Some people have said that they've had the speed controls on these go out. It has a heat sink on it, and it gets fairly warm at times, as well as the motor. It kind of depends on what you're doing with it. And I've been thinking of trying to waterproof this. Balloon the radio and maybe put the speed control on a balloon. I just worry about the heat off of it. But oh boy, this is the only battery I have for it. It's a 7.2 volt 3300 milliamp hours. I can get about, generally, I'm gonna say 45 minutes to an hour of runtime with it. And you know, really, the way I use this thing, I generally run out of time to play with it before the battery runs out. So it's more than enough for me. It seems to last a lot longer than other RC vehicles that I remember having, the electric ones. But of course, this battery's probably a pretty decent battery, I imagine. But I'm pretty happy with it.